Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Serena, owner and creator of Carter Custom, and today I'm going to give you a walkthrough of the biweekly budget. To get started, I always go to File and I make a copy, so I have a blank copy to refer back to in case anything happens to the one I'm working on. I've included detailed instructions to help you get started, as well as my contact information if you have any questions. Along the bottom, you'll see all these different tabs, and we'll get started in the Setup tab. Here you can customize your currency. You double click and you can delete the currency. You can copy and paste one from below, or you can just type in the one that you would like to use. Then under month, you'll choose the month that you'd like to work in. For year, if your year has changed, you double click and then you can change your year here. And for first paycheck, you'll double click and choose the first paycheck of that month. This allows the rest of your dates to automatically update. This is a biweekly calendar, and biweekly is every 14 days, so these dates will automatically update based on 14 days past your first paycheck date. Here, when you receive your first paycheck, you will enter the amount. If you haven't received your paycheck yet, you can either keep it blank or you can enter just an estimate for what you think you're going to get so that you can get started budgeting right away. If you only have 2 paychecks in that month, just disregard the third section as well as paycheck number 3 down here, as there won't be any relevant information there. Under Customize Your Categories, this is where you're going to create all of your drop-downs. So all of the drop-downs in the rest of the template are going to be based off of what you enter here. Under Other, this is where you delegate your remaining funds. So this will be where you enter expenses like your groceries, your fuel, your entertainment, etc., as those aren't necessarily bills or expenses, and these tend to fluctuate more. Under Other Income and Dates, you will go ahead and you will choose your income source. This is based off of what you entered under your customized categories. Then you can enter the amount and the date. When entering the date, you only need to enter the day number, as your month and year have already been included at the top. I've included a section for annual subscriptions, so these are for subscriptions that do not happen monthly. You can enter those below. If you happen to pay it maybe every 3 months or every 6 months, just enter it multiple times and just change the dates to reflect the accurate date. The date here is a little bit different, as you'll double click and get a calendar, and this is so that you can set your date for anywhere in the calendar and it doesn't need to be on this month or date that's above. You'll do the same for your bills. Here you can enter the type of expense that it is, and then you will enter the expense name. Again, this is based off of what is below your different categories on the left. Then you'll enter the amount and the day number. When your payments have been made, you can go ahead and check off those payments so that you know that they've already been paid and you don't need to worry about those. Next, we have our calendar overview. So I've included a previous month as well as a following month overview. And then along the left side, you will see any expenses for that month in a list form, as well as populated onto your calendar. You can choose to have your calendar start on Sunday or Monday, and all 3 of your calendars will automatically update. Below, you can enter any sort of activities that you have going on that month, and they will automatically populate onto your calendar for you. We're going to check out our paycheck overview. So here, this is for your first paycheck, and this will be whatever the date you entered on your setup page. And then you'll see an overall of all of your income for that 2 weeks, all of your expenses, and your remaining balance after everything. You'll see these bar charts. This is based off of what you have budgeted for that month versus what you've actually received. Setting budgets is completely optional and you do not need to do this. However, if you would like to try to set budgets and try to stay within them, that is what this is for. Under your summary, under actual amount for rollover, you'll enter the amount that you have in your bank account when you receive your first paycheck, and this will just help your calculations to be more accurate. Below, I've also entered a section for you to be able to add your goals just for those 2 weeks. When you have reached that goal, you can cross it off here. On this horizontal calendar, you will also see your expenses populate below their corresponding day. This is just a nice visual for you to also see how your different expenses are broken up without having to go back to the calendar. Then below, you'll be able to see more detailed information about your income, your expenses, and any subscriptions. Here you see your overall amounts, and then here you see them more broken down. You can set budgets for these individual items. If you are over budgeting, you will see that the amount at the bottom turns red, and if you are within your budget, it will stay green. Now another feature is over here if, as you see this remaining balance, this is based off of the fact that your income is greater than your expense. However, if you have spent more money than you've received, so maybe your paycheck was significantly lower than you expected it to be, you will see that it's letting you know that you are over budget and the balance has turned red. Paychecks 2 and Paychecks 3 are exactly the same. This just gives you an overview, but it is for the following 2 weeks. Then under Other, this is where you will delegate your remaining funds. So this number here, your remaining funds, is based off of what you have left here. So this is where you can also set budget amounts for your groceries, and then how much you've actually spent on those items. As you're spending money, you will see this total decrease. So maybe we took a trip and we spent another $100 on fuel. You will see this decrease by $100. Entering the date here is completely optional, as well as setting a budget here is completely optional. Again, this is just letting you know that if you're spending more than you're budgeting for or not. And the same goes for the following 2 paychecks in the month. You can do the exact same thing. This number here also takes into account any remaining funds that were left over after this paycheck, and it pulls them into this one and adds it to your overall total. Lastly, we have a monthly overview. This is the same as our paycheck overview. It does not include a calendar, as we already have our monthly overview calendar separate from this. It will show you any of your budgeted expenses versus your actual expenses and your remaining balance at the end of the entire month. This number is the number that you can take and you can enter into your rollover amount in your following month. Now, if you would like to keep a copy of your budget every single month, then it's a good idea to just go ahead and make a new copy. You can leave all of your information the same and just make the small adjustments where necessary, and then just change your new copy and update the month to the following month. And then that way you'll be able to have your previous month for records to look back on down the road for any income tax purposes or just for personal reflection. Otherwise, if you'd like, you can just clear your charts by highlighting over things and deleting them and restarting. If you have a bunch of checkboxes ticked off and you highlight over top of those and you press the space bar a couple of times, then they will all clear. Lastly, if you're trying to edit anything that does not have a white cell background, you are going to see this warning. When you see this, I suggest you press cancel so that you don't make any changes anywhere that don't need to be made. If, however, you would like to make any changes, like you would like to change your header names or anything like that, when you go to make these changes, you can just click Do Not Show Again for 5 minutes, and then you'll have 5 minutes to make those changes before you'll see this warning again. Otherwise, you can just press OK if you're only making one simple change. I hope that this walkthrough of the biweekly budget was helpful, and I hope that it's able to help you to stay on track to meet all of your financial goals. Thank you for watching.